Welcome back to Northern Brewer's Homegrown Hops video series. In our last two videos, we picked hop cones and brewed fresh hop beer with them. If you missed those, we'll link to the playlist in this video's description. But say you don't want a wet hop beer, or you just have more hops than you know what to do with right now. No worries. You can dry and store homegrown hops for future use as well. In this video, we'll show you how to do this with a few easy techniques. Before we get started, if you've enjoyed our hop video series, please subscribe to the Northern Brewer YouTube channel. Be sure to hit the notification bell for more videos in the future. Already subscribed? Cheers that like button for us. A question we at Northern Brewer get asked a lot is, why do hops need to be dried before storing? Well, freshly picked hops contain a lot of moisture, and that moisture can lead to rotting if it's not removed before packaging. So hops are dried out to make them shelf stable so they can be held for a while before use. In dry weather, air drying is preferable. One of the easiest ways to do this is to spread your hops out on a window screen supported by 2 chairs or stools. Do this in a place that is out of direct sunlight, like a garage, shed, or basement. To help the drying process along, place a fan nearby to keep the air moving through the hops. A couple of times a day, fluff or move the hops around, stirring and rotating the cones to make sure they're exposed to the moving air. If you're sensitive to plants or you want to protect your skin from the sticky lupulin, consider wearing gloves or using something to stir with. Depending on the overall temperature and humidity, the drying process might take one day or it might take a few days. Hops are considered dry when they're papery and light, and the inner stem is brittle and actually breaks when you bend it. It's not a preferred method, but you can also dry hops using a food dehydrator or a well-ventilated oven. Similar to the screen method, spread the hops out over the dehydrator racks or a sheet in the oven. Here it's very important to use low heat. Keep the temperature under 135 degrees so you don't actually cook the delicate hops. If your dehydrator is like the one here that has a setting below 100 degrees for herbs and spices, use that setting. Once dry, it's time to package your hops. When packaging your hops, it's good to remember that oxygen is the enemy of freshness. Oxidation will ruin your beautiful hops, turning them cheesy and funky. In a perfect world, you'd completely purge all the oxygen before sealing. That's why at Northern Brewer we actually flush every package of pellet hops with nitrogen to make sure as little oxygen remains in the package as possible. The packets are heat sealed and remain slightly puffed from the nitrogen inside, doing its best to keep your hops fresh. But we know most homebrewers don't have equipment like this, so we wanted to show you a simple way to package your hops. At home, the best method for storing is to vacuum seal dried hops in food-safe bags and keep them in the freezer. Measure out the amount of hops you want in each bag, and then vacuum seal the bags. If you don't have access to a vacuum sealer, the next best thing is to fill a zipper-style bag with as many hops as you can. Squeeze out as much air as possible, zip it, and then store it in the freezer. Vacuum-sealed hops can be stored for up to a year. If your hops aren't vacuum-sealed, it's best to use them as quickly as possible. Because the alpha acids of homegrown hops are difficult to pinpoint, we don't suggest using homegrown hops for bittering. Go with a commercial hop that you know and trust for bittering, and use homegrown hops for flavor and aroma additions towards the end of the boil or at flame out. When brewing with home-dried hops, use the same amount of hops as you would when brewing with pellets. If an addition calls for 1 ounce of pellets, use 1 ounce of homegrown hops. It's a really cool thing to share your home brew with someone and tell them that the hops were also grown at your home. Each fall, after the harvest, hop bines retreat back to the permanent rootstock, or crown. The crown is hardy and relatively unaffected by the deepest winter freeze. You can help by trimming the bines to a few inches above the soil. Insulate the crown area with fallen leaves or straw until spring, when the fresh shoots will emerge once again. Hops grow back much stronger after they've developed a good root system, so expect more hops in subsequent years. We want to see what you've done with your homegrown hops, so please share your photos from the harvest and brew session on Twitter and Instagram. Tag Northern Brewer and use #BackyardHops. We'd love to share them. And if you're watching this video because you're interested in starting to grow your own hops at home, know that every spring Northern Brewer offers hop rhizomes for sale. Sign up for our emails to know when you can pre-order and get your hop garden going next year. From everyone at Northern Brewer, cheers.